Hi, today is Saturday, June 4th. My name is Shannon, and this is Minerva Turkey Knits, episode 34. Hi, everybody. Welcome to all the people that are ones that have stuck by me through a gigantic hiatus of almost 6 years. Hi. Can't believe you remembered me, but hey. Maybe you don't really, just got a reminder by YouTube that you subscribed forever ago and you completely forgot. I'll take it. And welcome to everybody who's new. I used to have a podcast a long time ago and thought I'd give it another shot. I haven't decided if I'm going to put my old episodes back up yet or not. I don't know. We'll see. For now, social media wise, I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I have a cringy thing about Facebook, but we'll come back to Facebook in a minute. You can't find me on Ravelry right now, even though I still have my Rav profile. And there's a Minerva Turkey Knits group that still lives on Ravelry, but it's inactive. Because some of my disabilities are highly triggered by the way they have some of their settings set. Is that how you say it? Is that the right tech jargon? There was a big to-do about it last year where a bunch of us got together that were being severely triggered. And when I say severely triggered, I actually had to go to the ER for a migraine that was triggered. It's not totally unusual for me to have to go to the ER for triggered. Saying that they're headaches, it's just not the right thing. A migraine isn't just a headache, it's a full body neurological condition. Not a lot of people know that, but you're not here to think about that kind of stuff. So just the long and the short of it is there's a disability. There are a few settings on Ravelry when they made changes during the pandemic that ended up triggering a lot of brain neurological conditions, and I unhappily am one of those people. And we asked and asked and asked, and no change back, no solution for those of us that can't use it. Although I am, fingers crossed, very hopeful that maybe they will still go back in and become ADA compliant again and make those changes for those of us that are disabled due to photosensitivity type issues. It's not just like one of my other conditions is occipital neuralgia. Hey, if you're here, you're gonna find out that I just kind of spill my stuff. I'm an honest person, it just kind of comes out. But that also gets triggered by some of the photosensitivity stuff that they have in their settings and backgrounds and the way, things move. But I'm still hoping that they will go in and fix that, because I miss hanging out with my peeps. But I am very active on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. I'm not real thrilled with going back to Facebook just because it tends to get yucky on there and people tend to get a little territorial and stuff, and that's yuck. But the reason I am venturing back into the Facebook realm is because I set up a group for us, for Minerva Turkey Knits, a place where we can chat and share patterns and, talk about wonderful sheepy stuff of the world and that kind of thing, since we can't have a group on Ravelry to discuss those things, and I can hold giveaways and stuff like that if I'm able to do this on an ongoing basis, because this really is a trial to see if, my health won't impede this, if I can keep up with it. I'm hoping I can. Maybe, once every other week or couple times a month or one episode a month, and then maybe some little, Instagram lives or something. I'm not sure. We're going to play with it and see how it unfolds. So yeah, just stick with me for a little bit. Let's see what it becomes. Yeah. So that's my introduction stuff. Now, I feel really bad because a couple people asked me, the last episode I did was my wrap up of Maryland Sheep and Wool from a few weeks ago, and I decided to introduce Liana, my corgi, by pulling her up on my lap, and she's chunky. She's really chunky. She got really chunky over the past 3 months, and part of it is she got boarded while we traveled, and part of it is she got boarded for a board and train for a little over 2 weeks. And in both situations, they were very generous with her treats. And she gained about 7 pounds. And when I hauled her little butt up during the podcast, I said she weighs like 40-something pounds. And I was being facetious. I was just exaggerating for effect. But a few people were like, that's too heavy for a corgi. You need to take her to the vet. She's in danger. She doesn't weigh 40-something pounds. She weighs 26 pounds. It's like, she's chunky. And whenever you want to pick her up, she just goes completely limp. She doesn't help. Yeah, she weighs 26, 27 pounds depending on the day. And we're trying to shave about 4 pounds off of her for that, because I think that one of the places that she was, because it was 2 places back to back, because we did do the board and train for a few things, because she might become my service dog to perform a few tasks for me, which would give me a little bit more independence on things. So she did go away and stay with the training facility for a little while. But yeah, she works really well for these really disgusting treats we have. And we left a bag of them that's supposed to last like a month to 2 months, and it came back empty. But she came back really trained and some really good stuff. It's like her Haagen-Dazs pints. Yeah, so I wanted to correct myself on that, because a few people thought like I was abusing my dog by giving her too much food and treats, but that's not the case. She just got a little, now it sounds like I'm fat shaming her. Oh, how I wish I was only 4 pounds overweight. I would take that. Oh gosh, I would take that. So, one other thing I want to talk to you guys about before I get to knitting, because this really is a knitting podcast, but I have to share this. And again, this is a little bit of a throwback to my old podcast, just because when I was podcasting before, we lived somewhere else. We lived about 40 minutes from where we live now. We lived in a very rural area, lots of farms, and if you can believe it, we lived there for 10 years. I had no idea, because whenever you went out of our driveway, we always turned left to leave. It's not a housing development, but to leave the farms and stuff. Paved roads go out to the main road and head out, to go towards the grocery stores and stuff like that. If you turned right, then you went just a little further, like maybe 200 yards, and then that's when you hit dirt roads that aren't maintained by the county or anything. That's just, Bob has a grading machine on the back of his tractor, and he grades the roads. I don't know his name. If I don't know someone's name, I call them Bob. Always have. So, Bob does the grading on the road. So we very rarely went that way, because my jacked up back from the accident cannot take washboard roads. So 10 years of living there, I had no idea that if we went 3 miles down that road, there was an alpaca farm. An alpaca farm? Are you friggin' kidding me? alpacas? And it was a fiber farm. They sold yarn, they sold fiber. You could hug the alpacas. I found out the day after the moving truck came to take the stuff to the new house. You have no idea. So that's one thing. But when we lived out there, because it was so rural, lots of animal encounters made it into the podcast. Like bears. Someone lived out there that had a bison that was either highly intelligent or the owner never knew how to latch his enclosure very well, because that sucker got out all the time. So it was more than once we would get a knock on the door from the sheriff's department and told to, like, basically shelter in place, don't go outside because the bison's loose again, and he had anger issues. So more than once we had to stay inside. There was an incident where there was an alligator that was trying to attack a dog, and my husband had to get in the middle of it. I mean, we had animal encounters. The bears were a pretty regular occurrence. Yeah. It was interesting. I grew up on a farm, so this was like what I was used to. There was, goats just wandering around, chickens. It's normal. So then we moved to the house we're in now, which I love. I love our area. It's very suburban. We're close to everything we need to be close to. I'm way too close to a super Target. My girlfriends know what I'm talking about. I should not be that close to a super Target. Or, yeah. Super Target is really the one that gets me. I should not be that close. So when we moved in here, I thought, okay, animal encounters are probably done. Maybe something here or there. No, I didn't realize when we moved in that we bought a house 2 to 3 miles from a black bear preserve. And nobody told the bears that when the signs end, that's like their, that's the end of their area. There's no fencing. It's just a sign that says end of bear reserve. They don't know. They don't know. So the first week we lived here, we put up a bird feeder in the backyard by our pool, like pumps and stuff, right by the gate for the backyard on the fence, which was wood. And the next morning, it looked like a Tasmanian devil had to get into our backyard through the gate. The gate was demolished, and I don't mean knocked down, demolished. It was knocked down, but it had been chewed through first. Like, there were wood splinters and wood planks everywhere. And we were like, what happened to this? What animal does this? Because at first we weren't even sure it was an animal. We weren't sure if it was like a hatchet or what. And then our lovely neighbor comes by and says, yeah, it's a bear. Did you guys happen to put up a bird feeder or put out any bird seed? And we're like, yeah. Huge attraction for bears. So that sucker was like, that's bird seed. I'm getting in. So, place the gate and all that jazz. Well, bears are a very common occurrence for us. And I have some footage from just the last couple of days that I will include at the end of the podcast so you can see if you're interested in our bear visitor for this week. And I'll even include a bonus bobcat. We've lived here for 6, almost 7 years. and we have seen coyotes, bobcats. I had an encounter with at least a dozen possums at once at night in the backyard when I shined the flashlight on the back wall, because we are at the beginning of the development that we live in. So we're up against the front retaining wall, and all along the retaining wall and all along our fence was lined with possums looking at me like they wanted to rip my throat out. Now, I didn't panic, but it's eerie. So it looks like I might have animal stories to share on a normal basis, because they damn sure love our place. So that's where we are, to start this out. I promise I will put in the show notes where the actual knitting portion starts, so that if you want to miss all this jazz, you don't have to deal with it if you just want to see the knitting and the yarn. So I'm going to take a little break. My voice is a little scratchy and I need a little break. And I'll be right back. Did that roll all the way over to you, little bear? Oh, did you go? Okay. Lovely little break. I've gotten it out of my system to talk to you about animal encounters. My hair is a little frizzy today. Okay. Because you just wanted to hear about my hair being frizzy. Like you can't see this situation. So, what am I wearing today? The easiest thing to show you is that I'm wearing my Rhinebeck shirt from 2019, I believe. Yep, 2019. The last Rhinebeck I went to before the COVID attack. I got this from Shelly Martinez of Shelly Can in the Indie Untangled pop-up that they had before that Rhinebeck that year. And that was a really good time. My friends and I went before we went and checked into our hotel for the weekend. And I just love it. It's orange, so yeah. And it's a comfortable shirt. And I really like the Woodstock vibes of the print and everything. So it's one of my favorite shirts that I've purchased from her. Not that I don't have like literally a little section in one of my drawers for my Shelly Can shirts. What can I say? She's talented and I like her work. And I spend where I like to support a person. It's just really cool, Not that I don't have mass-produced t-shirts, come on. I'm one of those people that doesn't believe that after a certain age you shouldn't wear graphic t-shirts. They can take all the other kind of, am I supposed to wear like blouses and such? Didn't say it. Blouses and such? No, wear what I want to wear. 45, dude. I'm gonna wear what I want. Women's power and all. I'm also wearing my Hitafude cardigan. Oh look, I have an end that popped out. I wear this a lot, so this one end just doesn't want to stay inside. So I'll address that when I get done recording. But I made this a really long time ago. Probably, I'm not going to guess how many years ago. It's been a long time. I was at my second SSK, I think, or first SSK, which is the Super Summer Knit Together that the Knit Girls organize. It's a great event in Nashville. They actually said that this year they might have some openings, that they're going to be able to pull some people from the wait list. And I'm kicking myself for not putting my name on the wait list. I don't know if I'd be able to attend because of the heat. But yeah, I'm kicking myself for not putting myself on the wait list. It's a great, great retreat. If you have the opportunity to go, please go. just good people. It's nice to be around our people and recharge our batteries. But this is a fantastic pattern. It's been made so many times. People have made some really cool edits to it to make it a little different, a little short and croppy. There's one woman that made corrections and put up her not corrections, designed a little different to be long and go out a little further, and I think it is so ethereal. I love it. I really want to make her version, and I have the yarn to make her version, so that may happen this summer. But this one is actually showing up really well color accurate. It is, let's see, I put my notes. It's using the Yaxi base, which I love. I love yak. It's soft, it wears well, it doesn't pill, it doesn't get crazy, easy to block. I haven't blocked this sucker in at least a couple of years, and like I said, I wear it all the time. It's from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. The colorway is Pond Scum. Name is awesome because I do love myself a nice scummy green. I just think the elements that they put into that dyers put into these scummy greens are beautiful. I wish you could see the flecks of yellow and gold and even a little bit gray. It's just magnificent. But if you're at all intimidated by this pattern, I encourage you not to be. When I started, I was like, I can't visualize where this is going. Just trust the pattern and knit the next row, and then knit the next row. Don't look at the overall at first. But then this is what I do. When I look at a pattern and I can't make sense of it, I can't visualize where they're going with it, I just worry about the next row. I can knit this row. Okay, I knit this row. I can knit the next row. Okay, I knit the next row. And I just do that until I get stuck. And then my poor friends will get a screenshot of a row and I'm like, what the hell do I do with this? They usually know. And if they don't know, I email the designer. And usually the designer is like, oh, this just means you do this and this. But my best advice for something that is like, oh, I bought this pattern and now I'm freaked out by it, maybe I'll knit it some other day. You're not going to knit it some other day. You're going to forget. Just knit row by row and trust the process. Trust the designer. Something like this that's been made a couple thousand times, probably more than a couple thousand times. I've been on Ravelry in so long I can't remember. Just trust it. You can do it. And you know what? If you get stuck, message me. I'll help. I might regret that. No, I won't regret that. Knit it. It's fun and it's beautiful. I've knit too. First one I knit in linen. And it grew way too much. It was like a robe. And it wasn't in a good way. And I loved the yarn and I loved the pattern. And it was my mistake to think that they would be good together. It was a long time ago. It was right when the pattern came out. So I frogged it. That linen is living a happier life, fulfilling its true purpose as a different pattern. And then I knit it with this. But I do want another one. I do want that longer version. It's gorgeous. I'd love to wear it over like a little sundress. It's beautiful. Maybe that's what I'll cast on next. Maybe we should do a knit along. What do you think? Maybe I'll set up a little poll in the Facebook group and we can do it together. What do you think? Are you interested? I'll find out if you're interested. Okay. So, let's talk about what I'm knitting. Yay, what I'm knitting. I am working on, well, let's show you this one first. In my favorite bag. which I'm so in love with. I know, it's crazy. You shouldn't be so in love with a bag. What the hell's that about? But I love it. It makes me so happy I can't help it. Okay, the bag, if you weren't here last time, or if you don't have magic memory, if you don't just think about me all the time, this bag is by, see if it'll focus. Yay! Julia Hillbrandt felt bags. I have 4 of her bags. I have a backpack, I have a tote bag, and then I have this project bag. That's 3. Do I only have 3 of her bags? I have 3 of her bags. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking 4. I will also put her information in the show notes. They'll be in that little drop down thingy on YouTube. And I'm going to put them in the Facebook group. For right now, with just kind of seeing if I can do this right now for a few weeks, I'm not going to mess around with iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff to get my podcast everywhere. We're going to stick with YouTube right now just because the rest of it's pain in the butt, and if I physically can't do this, then it's kind of silly to bust my husband's butt to get him to go and do all the highly technical stuff that I have no interest in doing. He does tech for a living. I should have free tech services, right? So last time I was wearing a finished shift cowl by Andrea Mowry, using all one colorway called Rosy Maple. And I knew I was going to cast on another one right away because I loved how fast it is to knit, how fun it is to knit, and I cast another one on right away. It's not giving me color trueness, but I'm using 3 different colorways, which is how the pattern's written, to use 3 different colors. Spin cycle is what the pattern used, but you don't have to use that. Use anything. I think self-striping sock yarn would be really cool with this because you never know how it would knit up. 3 colors of Cascade, who knows? It's not something that you have to break the bank about. I bought these 3 colors from Magpie Fibers on during the weekend of Maryland Sheep and Wool because I couldn't stand it. But I think they're going to be good colors for me. And we're going to talk about why they're going to be even better in a few minutes when I talk about stash enhancement. But this is how far I've gotten. Not bad. I've just been kind of taking my time. It took me about 8 or 9 days to recover from the road trip to Maryland and back by car. We had a great time despite the weather and everything, but it's just a little bit harder on me than we thought it would be. But now I'm trucking along on another cowl. I will try to take a color accurate picture so that you can see. It's definitely more teal than blue. Like this is reading as navy, but it's definitely teal. And the colors that are in here, if you want to look them up on the Spin Cycle website just to see what the actual color is. First of all, let's see. We're experimenting with cameras. And I want to save up for a really decent camera if I'm going to do this. At least I'm not just like ghost face, bright white, you know. The colors that I used are Robin's Egg, Melancholia, which is that main teal, and then Stay Ready. So Stay Ready is browns and blues, creams, grays. Melancholia is teal with some reds and blues. And then Robin's Egg is some beautiful baby blues and some grays and such. Just gorgeous colors. He has such a good way with color. And it is a fun knit. And for me, it's mostly because I can't wait to see what the next row does. How it looks with the color that's preceding it. And don't let it intimidate you. This is not fancy color work. You only work with one color at a time per row. That's it. There's no... On the back, a lot of people asked me this at Maryland when they wanted to see the cow. They're like, let me see your floats. The floats are there, and I weave my ends in as I go, so that's why you see some weirdness. I learned a little trick about that when I took a class with Olga, who's known for her 3-day knitwear. So my ends go in as I go. Such a cool thing. If you have a chance to take a class with her, virtually or in person, you gotta do it, because what she's teaching you, what you sign up for, is brilliant. But her tips and tricks along the way will blow your mind, and I use them all the time. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. It is not as complicated as it looks. But don't we love a cool technique that when a non-knitter sees it, they think you're like magic? Oh yes, this took me forever to knit. It's fantastic, isn't it? Yes, yes, all the applause. All the applause. Trying to make myself sound like kind of a bitch. I'm not, I hope. No, but I think they're very giftable too. There's no styling to them because they're a cowl. They slip right over your head. It looks fantastic. What a great gift, especially for a non-knitter, because they want to look good in knitwear and they don't understand, like how do I wear this thing? You just put it over your head and you look great and it keeps you warm. Fantastic. I am also working on, I was watching Leslie and Laura, and Leslie was talking about working on some old projects that had been languishing, and I was in my craft room looking for something and I couldn't find what I was looking for, and I came across an old whip that had just been sitting there for like years, and I picked it up because I've been in love with this skein since I got it. So I am working on it's a Hitchhiker by Martina Bem, but it's the second Hitchhiker that she did, and right now it's Hitchhiker Beyond. I actually put it in my show notes. It's Hitchhiker Beyond by Martina Bem, and I'm using Chlorophyll by Life in the Long Grass. Is it better closer up or better far away? It's better far away. That's pretty color accurate. I've loved this color. It's more neon and grassy green. I really want a better camera. Really want a better camera. But yeah, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So it's been languishing. I did some rows on it last night because I had it stuffed in a project bag with no notes of where I was, no row counter about where I was, no nothing, just mystery. Sorry about that. My corgi must have heard something, 10 streets away, and decided to warn me about it. She's a really good pup. She's just learning that, at least right now, she likes to alert to everything. We're trying to narrow down what is a danger and what is not a danger. So to keep her a little occupied right now, she's having a puppy ice cream in her little house. So we were talking about, the Hitchhiker. Yeah, so I did a few rows and I figured out where I was by tinking back a little bit just to see what I was on. It's pretty easy with Martina's patterns because she is very good about her schematics and showing which direction the yarn is knitting in. So it was pretty easy to figure out where I was, which was really cool. And I'm also working on socks. I tend to always have socks in progress. Oh, wait. Neglecting my job here. This project is living in my Bink Waffle small dumpling bag. So this is one side. They're all reversible. I'll move back since my light. Let me see if I turn my light off for a second. Washes me out, but then you can see the bag better. So that's what the bag looks like. But it's reversible. So let me show you the inside. So if I change it to its reversibles, put this back in, and it will hold a lot. I sometimes use this size for socks. I sometimes use this size for shawls or the beginning of like a shawl. But here we are on its reversible. Really cool. Nice. This light is not at all nice to me, but let's see if it gives you the accurate color of this cowl. I'm very curious to see. No, not at all. So I get my color back because I'm not as weirdly pale and strange looking as I am in that light. So my socks. I almost always have a pair of socks in progress because they're easy to just keep in my purse. Usually, if I'm having a hard day, I'll take them in to bed and knit a row or two and then put it down, knit a row or two and put it down, just because it is a good way to cope with what's going on. So let me show you. They are mustache yarns. So here is, oh wow, that's really reading that right. That's color accurate. That's color accurate. All those wonderful colors. The colorway is Vespa. So let's show you how far I am on the first sock. This one I'm magic looping. I go back and forth. I can do socks on 2 circulars, on DPNs, on magic loop, and 2 at a time. Taking classes for all of those. But magic loop is just so easy because you can put it down if you're in the middle of a row, or like let's say you're waiting in a doctor's office and they come and call you and you're using DPNs. I can't tell you how many times I've just thrown that in the bag and then forgotten that I had done that and squish it down in my purse, and then that's a disaster. So I don't know, I'll vacillate. I'll go and then preach how great I love my DPNs. But right now I'm feeling magic loop. So these are on size 1 Addy Rockets. Yeah. And this is how far I am with the Vespa colorway. And I'd say it's mustache, right? I hope I said it was mustache. One thing that you will see if you start to be a viewer for me, which I hope you give me a couple chances to not be so nervous and get things out of order, is that since my accident, if you were a watcher before and then after the accident, I hit my head very hard. I was the driver. We were going 55, 60, and she had us pretty much head on crossed over and had hit the steering wheel, bent the steering wheel over. So I've had some pretty bad head trauma. It's messed with my memory and my speech, among other things. So you'll see this from time to time, which is partially why I stopped. It's a lot better now than it was 5 years ago. But yeah, so you might hear me repeat myself a few times on things. Just because I really can't remember if I just did it or not. But yeah, I'm loving it. Of course I am. It's Stacy's yarn. The cool thing about the Vespa though, I'm working on these socks because I also bought her kit to make a Vespa top, where the yarn, it comes with yarn for sleeves and yarn for the body. So the body is a gray top just to above your boobies, and then you have enough to go across the top for the neckline with the Vespa colorway, and then down your arms. It's so cool, and I believe it's still on her website. If it's not in stock, it'll at least show you the picture of what it is, and you can sign up for her newsletter and see when she's going to have it in stock again. It was not a super expensive kit. Not cheap at all, of course, but it was not an expensive kit. So if you have a birthday coming up, or, you know, you just want to treat yourself. I'm very into maybe knitting that. We'll see, because I really want to go to Rhinebeck. And that means knitting sweaters for Saturday and Sunday. I have the yarn for the sweaters. I have the sweaters planned out. I'm very excited. And let's see. It's by Mustache. See if it'll focus. Yay! Focused! And of course it'll be in my show notes. And the colorway is Vespa. Stacy's a doll. She really is. And she makes some great stuff. And the bag that this is in, let's see if it'll, this is actually a bag that I made. I took a class to sew a little bit by hand, and I made this little sucker by hand, which I'm kind of proud of. Okay, so let's see how we can get him to come to life a little bit. I'll just pop him up a little bit. There's no interfacing or anything. So I took a class with Karen Stevens through Tatter Blue Library in Brooklyn, New York, but it was virtual because it was during the times when we were still on lockdowns. But this is one of her patches that she sells, and I put it as an inset to this bag. And then I used the little patch that I liked. I really liked this fabric. Yep, all hand seaming, so, you know, be easy on me. Then I embroidered this on it to mimic her stars and stuff too, and her little heart. I tried to mimic. Yeah, and then hand sewn body on the bottom. And then the inside is a contrasting fabric. And then little tabs made out of ribbon. And then all you have to do to close it, I'll pick it up so you can see, is just cinch it shut. And it's just a really easy little bag to carry around. I was very happy with myself. Now, the class came with the kit to make it. And I started to make it and was not happy with it. And it was like the night before class, because it was broken up into a couple of weeks. So we had time to put it all together after learning how to put it together. And she's a phenomenal teacher too, and just such a nice soul. Actually, I can't remember if this class was through Tatter or through River City Yarns, because I took a lot of Zoom classes during the COVID lockdowns and stuff. I can't remember which it was. I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I can look and put it in the show notes. Basically, I screwed up the first one. Screwed up big time. and it was late. Everything was closed. I don't have a fabric stash. Not that's not all patterned. So I cut up a pair of blue jeans and sewed them. It was one of my old pair of jeans that was too big. So the denim that's used for the bag is from the leg, one of the legs. I originally wanted the tabs to be the button loops, but my gosh, are those thick. I couldn't hand sew through them, but I was able to, make everything else work. But yeah, this is a torn up pair of jeans. And you know what? It was an old pair of plus size jeans that I had managed to lose weight and get out of. So it's kind of nice to hold it and knit with it, knowing that I didn't have to wear those stupid jeans anymore. So win-win. Okay. And then just one last thing. Those are all living in one of my other Julia Hillbrandt bags, a tote bag. I use this as my bringing things around the living room where I want to sit and knit kind of thing. So those are my whips. And I don't have any FOs or general crafting for today. Really, all the stuff I showed you is way enough to keep me occupied right now. I am going to get back into my embroidery and stuff. I just haven't had the bandwidth to really do much of the stitching. I'm getting evaluated right now for carpal tunnel, and I actually am very nervous about my knitting. I'm like, my hands, I gotta keep them in good shape. I do my stretches and stuff, but I guess all of us that work with our hands, it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Inevitable, but it's a really great orthopedic practice. It's the same people that worked on me after I was in the car accident, so I trust them. Now let's talk about stash enhancement. Before I get to let me turn the light back on. Before that felt bright. Before I get to stash enhancement, I ordered a new bag this week. Big shocker, right? It's so cute. Yeah, it's color accurate back here, kind of. How far back do I have to go? Yeah, there. It's just a really cute, happy little fun bag. I took a class on sashiko embroidery, and this should be just big enough to keep a nice little project and a thing of notions in, because it's not stitched on a hoop, it's just stitched flat. So this would be just the perfect size to keep a project in and throw it in your purse. And I love this shop on Etsy called Rock Baby Scissors. I have a few of her things and I love them. They're very well made. Liana, no more barking from you. No. She's so nervous and I don't know why. I think it's because my husband's not home right now and she doesn't want to be in her house while I do this. Otherwise she would be in my lap. So yeah, I love that little bag. The good thing about Rock Baby Scissors too is she might have her shop kind of cleaned out, but she's always, most of the time, has build your own bag as a pre-order. So yeah, check her stuff out. It's always very colorful and fanciful, and I love that. So, stash enhancement. A week or so ago, maybe more like 10 days ago, Spin Cycle had their second sale. It was a blind sale. So for a certain price, you could get a bag of whatever. You didn't know what colors, you didn't know what base. it was just a fun way to get a huge discount, well, a very healthy discount on their yarns, and you had no idea what you'd get. And I'm very pleased with what I got. So let's start with some dyed in the wool, which is their sport weight yarn, and they sent me yarn in the castaway color. That's it. Yeah. I think if I keep them down away from the light too much, or if I turn the light down a little. Here, let's try it with the light down a little. There we go. And I love how different they are. I'm thinking hat. You know? Hat with maybe some fingerless, like really short fingerless mitts. Just the... We'll see. We'll see mixing something with it. I really dig it. But the thing that really got me, please be color accurate because this is a scrumptious colorway. These are in the Dream State base, which is their worsted base. Nope. They were color accurate when I did a test run earlier. They look navy blue there, but they are indeed a teal with striping. Not striping. Part of the ply is a reddish purple, and it's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Nope, doesn't help it. So weird. So weird. Everything works when you rehearse it. You know, do the whole, is it showing up? You can see the purples in there. Actually, those bottom skeins look pretty freaking color accurate to me. Yeah, those two bottom ones look really color accurate. But the coolest thing about those, if you remember from a few minutes ago, I'm also using Melancholia in my shift cowl. That means that I can make something to coordinate with it. And I'm super excited because I also have some gray hedgehog fibers in worsted. I believe it might, I'm pretty sure it's worsted, that I could mix with it and have maybe a top and a cowl to go with it. Or I just use this and make a hat and super long fingerless mitts, because I love fingerless mitts. They keep me so warm. I haven't decided yet. If you guys come across a really cool pattern, please share it. I get most of my pattern like oohs and ahs from Instagram, and I keep a little folder of, you know, patterns I want to knit on there. And my friends are really good about recommending patterns to me since I can't do the Ravelry thing. And I'm signed up for like every designer's newsletter so that I can find patterns that way. But if you come across something that is like, you could rock this, or this is your jam, post it. I love patterns. So that's on my whips. That's my stash enhancement. Yeah, I think that's it. That's a pretty hefty timeline. I hope you guys, you know, have a great week. I hope that this was enjoyable for you. It was for me. I mean, I do have a belly full of nerves that, you know, no one will watch this or even care. But on this end, it may sound cheesy, but it just feels good to put it out there, to talk to my peeps, because it really did feel good to go to Maryland. I mean, seeing the yarn and the animals and stuff was great, of course. But seeing my people, other people that feel like I do about being around other like-minded people, you know, there's a gnat. Knitters are just good souls. For the most part, we're all pretty good people who would go out of our way to help somebody. And it was really cool to be around a bunch of us. So, if this is just going out to the airways for 2 or 3 people, I love you, 2 or 3 people. So, yeah, I hope you have a safe and happy week or 2, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. And be kind to each other, knit something fun. I'll see you soon. Bye.